I believe we're live. It's redirecting to Facebook.
Well, my phone says we're live on Facebook.
Okay, then we are. Okay, yep, we are there.
We're live.
Yes, we are.
Okay, don't talk about nobody you don't want them to hear.
Okay, everybody. I guess we can go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. This is Shy Panther and Friends on the last Thursday of July in 2020, July 30th. And the time is just about 7:32 p.m. Central Standard Time. If this is your first time checking out the show, we're in the middle of a series, and today is part 4 of Rebuilding the Community. And we'll be talking about the role of the church in rebuilding our community.
On the last Thursday of
My
July.
panel people, can you guys hit mute? Because I'm hearing myself from your screens. So mute yourselves. So, okay. All right. Now, everybody. All right. Okay. To direct you back to what we normally do here. Shy Panther and Friends is produced by Shy Panther Media Group, independent media company, and the mission is to provide quality, entertaining programming, and the goal is to uplift, to educate, to empower, and inspire. So I hope that that's exactly what you've been getting from all of our shows. And tonight's panelists, we have Marcy, and we have Clarence Thomas, and they will introduce themselves as they come in. And you guys, please share, join in the conversation. And I'm sure everything that we're talking about will continue from today, but at least we tried to isolate particular issues that our community faces in the middle of everything else, the pandemic, the crime, the fight for justice and equality. So we believe that we have a pretty huge job and it'll be going on for generations even from now. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So welcome panelists.
Hi, good evening.
Hey.
Thanks for having us again.
Oh, I love having you guys. You really help build the show out, and as far as the conversation and take it to so many different levels. And it's been nice. It's been eye opening. So, and Clarence, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm okay. I'm always a little bit nervous before the show because sometimes you have everything planned and it doesn't go as planned, but thanks to the grace of God, He tells you what you need and gives you what you need to say just at the time that you need to say it. So, all right, everybody. So we were going to get into um, the role of the church in fighting for justice and equality. Anybody want to start out first, and I'll just go to mute.
Well,
No, nobody.
okay, I'll start first.
Okay.
I don't know why you're putting all this pressure on me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. You know what? Because you're a deacon, and and you're very active in your church, and plus you're the superintendent of Sunday school. So I know you got something to say. So
Oh,
let's hear it.
you you done took notes too good because you rattle all that stuff off. Okay, I thought you might have forgot.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. As a matter of fact, everybody, Clarence Thomas is retired police officer, Chicago police officer. He is a former deputy for the City of Chicago Office of Emergency Management and Communications, and he was also the deputy or director of training at the Office of Emergency Management and Communications in Chicago. So, and plus, he pointed out to me that he is deacon deacon at the church, very active in his church, and he's the superintendent of Sunday school. So I know he has a lot to say. So Come on.
Well, I'm gonna try not to hog the conversation, but just as it relates to the topic of the role of the church in our community, I think part of the problem is the church's role is not what it used to be. I can remember back when I was a kid, the church was very important in the Black community, and your parents and your grandparents, they were all involved in church activities, and they made sure that you were involved in church activities also. Uh, you don't find a lot of that today. You find that everything is a rush. Uh, the churches today they preach a lot of prosperity, and church is not about prosperity. Church is about spirituality, getting to know God and what He means in your life, and having God in your life. And too often we find ourselves trying to go to church and only stay for half hour, 45 minutes, and we're done. I can remember going to church and staying all day. I'm not necessarily advocating that now, but I think you have to spend some time in the house of worship, and you have to go there for the purpose of hearing the word of God and seeing how you can apply that to your life on a daily basis. Reading the Bible and getting some understanding, praying, and doing those things that are necessary so that you can be spiritually grounded and not material grounded, because material things will not last forever. And that's really not the purpose of a spirit-led life. I'm going to stop there and let somebody else have something to add to that.
Okay, well, I just want to welcome really quick Mr. Henry Barlow. Can you
How are
hear
you?
us?
Now I can.
Hi.
I'm
Okay.
fine. How are
Well,
you?
I'm good. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming. So you may as well introduce yourself and what you do, because I don't
Okay.
know.
You don't know.
Just have.
All right.
Well, I know you invited Marcel. You're Marcella's brother. So
That's correct.
okay. Well, that's all I know.
That's all you know. Okay.
Okay.
I'm Marcella's brother. I pastor the Morning Star Baptist Church of Chicago at 40th and King Drive. And years ago, I ran a program for youth in this city, partnering them with the Ford Motor Company and Chrysler and the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, as well as the federal government with the Department of Justice. And I served as a consultant to the Department of Justice for about 12 years. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on. Tonight is part 4 of our talk on rebuilding the community. So, and so our focus is the church and the role of the church in rebuilding our community, especially in these times. So, as when Clarence started out, he was talking about the role of the church. It seems to have changed from what it used to be, and the purpose of people when we went to church, very faithfully. It seems that has changed as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And it has.
Okay.
Yeah,
So.
just welcome my big brother. And you have Clarence Thomas. Introduce Clarence Thomas used to be our boss, and he's also on here with us. I guess he's going to be the resident too. Every Thursday. He used to be my boss. We worked closely together, and he used to be on were you a sergeant, Clarence, on the police department?
Yes. Yes, I was. When I retired, I was a sergeant on the police department.
Okay.
And he's a deacon in his church.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I'll just continue on. I retired as a sergeant on the police department to go down to the Office of Emergency Management, where when I retired from there, I was the deputy director over police and fire dispatch operations. And prior to that, I I was director of training because we trained all of the call takers and dispatchers at the 911 center. And that's basically covers my career as far as job goes. My church, I'm a deacon at Liberty Baptist Church in Chicago. We're right down the street from you, my brother.
Oh yeah, you there with Pastor Hunt?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Daryl and I were good friends. We
Oh, were
grew up
you?
together. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I am a deacon there at the church, and I'm also the superintendent of Sunday school. Uh,
Okay.
in addition to that, and I like to stay active in church. Um, I think it's important.
I do too.
Okay, so Marcy, were you thinking of saying something right now too to talk
No,
about
I
the?
just let him know what basically the topic is. I sent him a text message, but he stayed so busy he probably missed it because I was trying to get a
Oh,
bio.
yeah, yeah,
Send it to me.
yeah. Basically, we started out talking about the role, well, just rebuilding our communities, and we started out talking about for a lot that's happening in our communities, especially the crime, and taking responsibility for ourselves and rebuilding and reinvesting in ourselves in the community. And the second part, uh, we really talked a lot about reparations and completing the census and what that would mean as far as dollars and helping to rebuild the community. And when we talked about the reparations, we talked about how we would want to get it. And then we briefly went over how North Carolina and then how Evanston decided that they were going to, one particular town in North Carolina decided that they were going to give their citizens reparation in a particular way. And then last week we talked about Vote 2020, where we were encouraging people to vote and giving them information on where to go to find information, whether it's the local candidate or national level, and particular things about that, and talking about the aldermen, and just really beginning to talk about holding people accountable, and even ourselves for what happens in our lives. And so today we got to the church, how the church is helping lead us through the fight for justice and equality, because our community has been going through it for a very, 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 very long time. And I just want to say that I know, like Clarence said, a lot of the roles have changed, and with, I would say, almost with the migration of us coming to the north, and just how just the civil rights movement period in the 50s and everything like that, how the churches and segregation pretty much, we had to be together to work together to gain any ground. So, and I was in my research, I found that the church's role, it said that we were crowded in basements and offices, and we made plans to assemble and the marches took on the characteristics of religious services, and we prayed, and we got together, and we worked even with the boycott in the South. They managed to do that for an entire year. But that would
Mm.
be very, very cumbersome for us in this time to do something like that. So, but those folks stuck together and they got it done, and I was just really at all just kind of remembering and reading back over a lot of the information. And it's so huge talking about the church, because it was the Negro church, and then it became the Black church. So,
Hmm.
you know, I'm trying to like not pull out all these stops because then that's, of course, the church, the information about the church and us in America can go on for a long, long, long time. So,
Yes.
but yeah, so and I did read too how the message has become in some churches to, it's about prosperity. It turned to prosperity. And not all, leaders, church leaders believe in the fight for justice, or they don't believe in becoming civilly disobedient to get some ground, to gain some justice and equality for our folks. They don't always believe that. They believe that we could take another route and get there. So
And
I
that,
really,
and that's partly because of the fact that they're not. A lot of them try to look past. Um, well, let me say it this way: there's a lot of ignorance that prevails in the pulpits around this city in particular. I mean, we're Protestants by our practice, and that word came from basically the split from Catholicism going into Christianity and becoming Protestants, and that simply meant protest. That's what the word came from. They protested against the king and his antics on what he thought God was saying to the church, and they called them heretics when they came into existence. Martin Luther and John Calvin and people like that created this Protestant movement. So a lot of these pastors don't know what it means to be Protestant. It means to protest. It means to get involved in the day-to-day affairs that are going on, so that justice would be for all people. And they've been sold this bill of goods on this whole business about church and state, and religion versus politics, and how the two don't go, but they go hand in hand.
So
nice. I'm so
what are your
I love
what are
that.
your thoughts on how that should be applied and how people can come together and still not so much, well, yeah, protest and still hold steady to the word of God and everything that we grew up in, and just the whole spirituality of it, plus being rebellious against a system that has denied us so much in the many years. And I think a lot of times, I understood what King did at his time, the peacefulness, but we're not in a time of peacefulness. And I think sometimes we get caught up in, well, we'll let God take care of it. No, you got to put some action behind that too. Just like you said, protest. We can't keep being on our knees and praying and stagnant at the same time. I just don't see the two. I don't see it as equal. I just don't. And like you said, protest and where the word came from as far as Protestant, you have to put some action behind it. I mean, and work has to be done and not just on your knees praying. It's a lot more work that has to be done. And the work is actionary at this point in time. It's actionary. We can't continue to be peaceful because we're getting wiped by these people. They're wiping their tails with us, should I say. They're basically wiping their tails with us. And there's no apology for it. They're unapologetic for it. And
Well,
these
they're
young
not. They're not going to apologize,
Right. And
because
these young
it's to
people
make
are
up.
not accepting that. They're not going to be docile, and they're not going to be peaceful.
Well, number one, the ones that are out here creating all this havoc and all this kind of stuff. That's not how you get things done, because you have to sit down. You have to sit down with them legislators and negotiate. You're talking about the makeup of this country, number one, and what was part of and put into the Constitution. number two. I mean, they're just now floating around the fact of that you got a Negro hanging from a rope on the back of a $20 bill. I mean, I learned that going to the meetings down at the Federal Reserve Bank, because I sat on the board of Chase Bank at one point in time. What's your first name, Marcella? Gail, is it?
Yes, her first
Yeah.
name is Gail.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm Gail.
Yeah, I sat on the board of Chase Bank, and I used to have to attend these meetings at the Federal Reserve Bank. And the chairman of the board at that time was a fellow named Jerry Boyle, who asked me, did I ever study currency? He said, you need to pay attention to currency because there are a lot of things that are on the United States money that symbolizes and means a whole lot of different things. Because what I was trying to pitch to them was there was a way for for-profit organizations and not-for-profits to do business together where it would be beneficial to both. And I introduced them to what I call the Whiffam spirit. What's in it for me? That there was a piece of bread for everybody that was at the table. And so he was reminding me that, it goes much higher than them. Because what I discovered was that, this glass ceiling that people be talking about, they breaking through, they're going to break through the glass ceiling. But what I discovered is, hell, there's another glass ceiling past that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the real dirt goes on there, and that's where the movers and the shakers are. And I'm not talking about in the country; I'm talking about across the globe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the real movers and the shakers are. So you're fighting against something that will probably not happen. Number one. So all you can do is ask for your fair share of things, and a lot of folk disagree with a lot of things that Louis Farrakhan says, but he says a whole lot of things, and I can't listen to him long because Louis Farrakhan had me getting my guns, going out here killing everything that's white. I can't listen to him for a long time. But I'd be like, yeah, let's burn down the damn city. Let's burn down the damn country. Let her give us our space in the land or whatever. But I mean, what I did find out is that when white society understands that you're not a dumb Negro and that you are a thinking one, and what you are offering them and suggesting to them, that they just make the playing ground level. Now they're not gonna let us play in all their yards. They're not gonna do that. It's just like when they came up with, Biloxi, Mississippi. Who the hell ever heard of Biloxi, Mississippi? In Biloxi, Mississippi, and there's no other city or no other little town in the state of Mississippi that have palm trees other than Biloxi. The white folk put that there.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
They put that there. They created Biloxi, Mississippi. And that's where they go to retire. That's where they go to be at peace. Because they said Negroes started going down to Florida, and then there's too many of them other folk down there in Florida. So they created a place where they could get the type of food that they like to eat and all the rest of that stuff. Because, white folk, believe it or not, like a whole lot of pork. They like a lot of pork.
Yeah.
So they created Biloxi, Mississippi for themselves and put palm trees and everything else there, gambling places and all the rest of that. It's a paradise within this country. It's like being in a foreign on some tropical island somewhere. That's what they created. So there's certain playing fields that they're not going to let you play in, but there are certain other playing fields that they will let you play in. And that's why I was able to get the attention of Chrysler and Ford and the city of Chicago and the feds as well, because I was trading off things with them that each one of them were trying to connect to. When I approached the mayor of the city of Chicago and told him that I had an audience with Ford Motor Company, he said, "You can get Ford Motor Company here?" I said, "I can bring them to your office, Mr. Mayor." He said, "Listen, if you bring Ford Motor Company to my office, then we're going to partner together." And all I did was made a phone call. And the vice president of Ford Motor Company came and sat down with Mayor Daley at that time. That's who it was. And he opened the city's purse to me. They didn't give me block grants. They gave me corporate dollars. I got taxpayers' money. And they matched me dollar for dollar for every dollar that Ford Motor Company gave me. They gave me the same amount. So what I'm trying to say to you is that when they see that you actually have something to offer, rather, because see, most Negroes and the preachers in particular, they go and sit in these meetings with these politicians and everything, and they don't have anything to say other than, "We want some programs." Well, we want some money for some programs. So they ask them, "Well, what type of program?" "Well, programs for the youth." Well, hell, what are you saying? What program do you have any ideas? "No, we're looking for you to have ideas. We want you to give us the money and give us the ideas." So nobody's buying into that. So there's been a shift and a change. And since I got out of the, business because of the collapse of the automotive industry in 2008. And ever since then, they've both been pulling at me, the city as well as Ford Motor Company, to try to get back into it. But they've changed the dynamics of it. And I don't want to jump through the hoops because they left me out there hanging. Well, the first thing they do is they will hide. They will hide when things go bad. So.
Yeah, because you haven't heard from any of these aldermen. They used to be so visible when Mayor Daley was in office. As soon as Rahm Emanuel got in there and talked about taking away half of the 25 aldermen, you don't hear anything about them anymore. They haven't even addressed everything that's going on in this city. Not even the Black Caucus.
Well, I mean, you got a lot of new aldermen right now that are trying to learn their way, and the problem is that you got a new mayor along with the new aldermen, so they all learning their way.
No, I was talking about the time of Rahm Emanuel. They stopped being visible like they used to be so visible on TV and the news when Mayor Daley was there.
That's because a lot of them thought they was gonna go to jail because they thought Daley was going to jail, but Daley wasn't going to jail.
So where is he at, in China?
Yeah, between China and downtown with his black girlfriend.
Excuse you, that's his wife now.
Well,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he married her.
Yeah, he married her. Yeah, he
wow.
married her.
Okay, wow, you just told me a whole lot. So basically, I'm thinking that when people are approaching folks, they're saying that to the powers that be, they're telling them exactly what they need rather than asking for anything. Just, I thought they had everything spelled out because
no,
I mean, pretty
no,
much
they
as
don't.
we should have some type of a plan together for some type of plan of action when you approach people. Otherwise, no one's going to ever take you serious with, because the idea is that they don't even know what they want. And as a matter of fact, in discussions about reparations, that's what we hear. Well, what do they want? And that is such a broad statement to make to us. It's obvious what we want. We want what everyone else has. We want to be able to live our lives in peace, and we want to be able to prosper, and we want better schools, we want better housing, we want better access to health care. The list goes on and on and on.
Well, the thing is with that, to me, is for me, just give us access. We know what to do. I mean, I like we were talking about our house. I mean, you could take this house here and put it in Lincoln Park, and it's almost $500,000 more. Why can't our neighborhoods be like that? That's the thing. Leave us alone. Give us access. That's what I look at. Give us access. I don't want you to give me nothing. We can grow. I mean, we can create and grow and do whatever we need to do. Just unlock that gate or that door and let us have at it, just like everybody else. I work down in, we work that West Loop. When I go down through there and I'm looking, and most of them are young, that real estate down there is $400,000, $500,000. I can guarantee you, we make more than 80% of the people that live down there. But yet again, we get priced out and we can't live down there. And I was telling a friend, I said, and it has to do, I mean, it just goes, like you said, to that second ceiling where they make all the decisions for the entire world. But you look at the fact that I can have the same credit score, I can make more money than you, but yet I don't have access to this real estate. You wouldn't dare let me in. And here is somebody half my age can afford to live down there, and I guarantee you they probably ain't making more than $60,000 a year. So how is that possible? I mean,
Well,
don't devalue my property because my neighborhood is on the news. Well, if they put some of the other neighborhoods in this city on the news, of course the value is going to go down. So that's the whole premise of that. They're not going to do that. So the property values won't go down. People are scared. People don't move in. They don't, unless you regentrify. Then now you got more pro-police presence. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same way what's going on in the Woodline area and stuff now, And matter of fact, pretty much almost four corners of the city.
Right. And we've gotten to this point of extreme civil unrest because our people have been going through this for far, far, far too long. So that's why we're at the point where where do we go from? What do we do? What are the moves that we make, and how how can the church help us to contribute to the things that to get what we need?
Well,
what,
go ahead. Go ahead.
one of the things that we have to understand, we as a people have allowed ourselves to be consumers as opposed to entrepreneurs. And that's something that going back 50 or 60 years ago, we had a different mindset. I was taught from a very young age that learn how to do for yourself so that you can have something to pass along to the next generation. But we got factored into the consumer era, and we'll go out and spend $300, $400 on a pair of gym shoes, as opposed to figuring out how we can have a store where we can sell $200, $300, $400 gym shoes, as opposed to just going and buying them. See, we have to learn the art of investing our dollars. There are hundreds of millions of dollars in the Black community. Why do you think that the Arabs and all other kinds of folks open up businesses in our community? Because we spend money, but we don't open businesses. And then a lot of people who, Blacks anyway, who have businesses, a lot of them don't understand how to run their business. They don't get the necessary education that allows them to run a good, successful business. They want to make the quick dollar. When you try and hire a business person, I've had to put more Black folks out of my house when I tried to hire them to do some work because they were not doing the work properly and they were trying to get by. And I wouldn't allow that. So I told them they had to leave. And then I had to bring in somebody else in order to get the work done that I needed done. And a lot of times, this is what happens when we try and support Black businesses. We will run into the fact that a lot of Black folks don't know how to conduct business. They don't learn. They think they can just open up a store and all of a sudden money just gonna start flowing in. That is not the way it works. Now, as far as the Black church is concerned, we have a long way to go. We have so many issues in our community. The church is just one of the things that has to change. Our pastor and Pastor Barlow, you know our pastor, Pastor Hunt, and you also know Pastor Emeritus Jackson and the whole Jackson family. They didn't preach prosperity. What they preached the fact that you have to do the will of God based on what the Bible has taught us in reference to doing right by those who are less than. If you are in a position to help someone else, then you do that. And it will come back to you. And I'm not talking about monetary. I'm saying just lend a helping hand to that next person. And whatever it is that you're trying to do, pray to God that he will give you the guidance that you need in order to accomplish that. And you will accomplish that. But what you do has to be faith-based. It can't just be willy-nilly. You have to have some faith in what you're doing, and you have to involve God in what you're doing. That's basically all I'm saying.
Well, it's a couple things you said that I wanted to point out. Number one, when it comes to Black and business, their problem is that they don't know how to grow the business.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to grow it, and as a result of that, it makes us bad in politics too, because the Negroes that get in politics, it's a job for them.
Mm-hmm.
For white folk, it's a business.
Right.
And they push and teach their children to be a part of the business. And that's why they be in it for years. You know, the Kennedys, was a great example. The father invested in all of them and put all of them in there, and they passed that on to their children and to their grandchildren. And they went on and on and on, because politics is a business. Negroes want to get in business, but they want to get in business just to make enough money, and then they shut it down. They don't want to grow. They don't want to pass anything on. And that's why we are not successful in what we do, because the psyche of the average Negro is all screwed up because of the people that they call themselves listening to. That's not going to ever tell them the secret of it. And the secret of it is to grow it, to grow it. I mean, McDonald's started with one store, and had a desire to grow, and went from there. And this is the downfall of us. The only thing we know about growing is growing weed and growing our family. We make more children. And and they've talked about us so bad about that we have become almost a minority, and the Hispanics are the majority. So we're gonna be outnumbered after a while, because nobody teaches on growing. Yeah, everybody talking about prosperity and the this, that, and the other, and the blah, blah, this, that, and the other. That's not how you get there. You get there one step at a time, always, as you said, brother, you have to include God in the equation. If you don't include God in the equation, then you have already failed. You've already failed. That was one of the sticking points to the program that I had, because they were looking for me to beat them over the head with my Bible, because they knew I was a minister. But that was not my approach to them. I used a holistic approach. I dealt with them because I ran a healthcare organization that was affiliated with the University of Chicago. So I dealt with the young men that came to me about their health. When was the last time you went to the doctor? When your mother had you? And you'd be surprised how many of them young men between the ages of 17 and 27 that I dealt with, that they had been walking around with diabetes. They had been walking around with high blood pressure. They've been walking around with all kinds of illnesses and did not even know it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I introduced that type of stuff to them, then I could share with them other things. And as a result of that, I led numerous of them guys and we partnered with city colleges. So we were held in Kennedy King College. I led numerous of them young fellas that were gangbangers and everything. I got a cousin right now who came through our program. Marcelo knows our cousin. He was a 2-time ex-offender and was on his way to jail a 3rd time. And currently, he's the general manager of Castle Buick up at North Riverside. Now, he came a long way. That was 20 years ago. And from that, we got him to graduate from our program. We put him into Triton College and got him an associate's degree, put him in a dealership as an apprentice technician. He wanted to try his hands at sales after about 1.5 years of being an apprentice technician. We put him in sales. He learned that stuff. And right now, as I speak to you all, Buick GM period is begging him to let them give him a dealership. He's turned down one in Indiana already because Tony Castle don't want him to leave him. He just gave him a Rolex watch for Christmas, $30,000 watch. Stay here with us. But I was just with him 2 weeks ago, and we had a little private conversation. So I'm saying to you that, our focus has been off. Me as a preacher, dealing with it, and I taught many of these Negroes that are out here now. I've gone to the ministers' conferences and all this stuff. I taught them stewardship and evangelism and all the rest of this stuff. You can't grow numerically until you first grow spiritually on the inside. You grow from the inside out. And whenever I would come around, especially the Baptist brothers, they're like, here come Barlow with that Barlow, S-H-I-T again, blah, 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 blah. But I was on the white evangelical trail for so many years. I came back to the Baptist church in 94. I saw how the Lutherans did it and how the Presbyterian did it and how the Methodists did it. They grew individuals. And out of that, numerically, things begin to grow. So, we're fighting against two different evils at the same time. I hate to tell you all this, but we're fighting against two different evils because most of our folk, they looking for the get rich quick stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't trying. What AP Jackson pushed and Darrell pushed was education.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they pushed.
Right.
I had many conversations with AP. That's what they pushed. That's what Bishop Brazier pushed. That's what Wilbert Daniels pushed. I mean, they got people to go to school and to get knowledge, and they started putting them in certain areas, and that's how they grew their churches,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how they grew their economical engines within the churches. Because Liberty didn't want for nothing back during the time of AP.
No,
I don't know if they want for anything now, but they didn't want for nothing back then.
no.
Wilbur Daniels and Antioch on 62nd and Stewart, they didn't want for anything.
No.
So they had the economic engine. 71st and Green, New Friendship Baptist Church, Old Man Troy Freeman. They had economic engines within the church. Clay Evans had an economic engine within the church. Clay Evans died a millionaire, multi-millionaire, because they push for their people to become educated. We still got Negroes out here talking about. I just got through cussing a bunch of preachers out earlier. And I hate to tell you all this, but I did. I cussed a bunch of preachers out earlier. I said, all these Negroes out here, all these ones that call themselves apostles and all this kind of stuff, they need to go somewhere and sit their ass down. Because since we've been locked in and we've been up under this pandemic and all the rest of this stuff, I ain't seen one of these Negroes who claim that they see the lightning flashing and hear the thunder roar. I ain't seen none of them get out here and do nothing yet. Now you was powerful in your church and powerful with God, and you got these folk believing all kind of stuff. But what are you doing? What are you doing? What type of impact are you making on the community? What type of mark are you making on these young people's lives? I'm working with a boy right now. I might well tell you all this. I'm working with a fellow right now out of New York. We're trying to bring to Chicago now the Illinois Junior First Responders Program. We're trying to get 12-year-old to 14-year-olds gearing their minds towards becoming firemen, police officers, nurses, doctors, this type of stuff. I'm making contact with the city of Chicago. They just sent me an email inviting me to sit down with the commissioner now to try to do this. So, I mean, this is my idea towards trying to help with this. Because I saw a little 11-year-old boy last week. I was in the barbershop at 79 in Champlain, and the police was running on foot chasing him because he had just tried to carjack somebody. Last week. Today, I see a 14-year-old boy pull up in front of a bank, getting ready to carjack a man and rob him. And if it wasn't for me and the security guard that was there, they would have got him.
Wow.
They would have got him.
Mm-hmm.
And this was right at 105th and Halsted.
Wow.
They would have, if it wasn't for me and the security guard he spent 25 years with CPD. He's retired. He's a retired sergeant. I forgot his last name, but his first name is John. And he's with United Fidelity now. But if it wasn't for him and I, they would have got that man.
And this is something that you never used to hear about from kids as young as this. 11 years old,
yeah.
carjacking.
They've been told to go out here and prove themselves. That makes them the next little gang leader and all the rest of this stuff. Now I'm praying to God that don't none of them come up on me, because y'all gonna hear about the Reverend, then put some hot lead in one of these little 9-year-olds. Because I'm not gonna play with them.
You see my family, Gil? That's my family.
But you know,
I'm just not gonna play with them. I'm not gonna play with them. I'm gonna call my insurance company and tell them, look, I just shot him. I don't know whether he did or not, but I shot him.
But they're doing adult-sized crimes, and people are afraid. And people are going to react. They're going to do something to try to protect themselves. And it's unfortunate that some of them are going to be killed. That's the truth.
Yeah, they are. Because I mean, they're young and they're stupid.
Right.
They don't understand that everybody that they run up on is not afraid of them.
Yeah, but when you teach a child that with no fear, they don't care. And this is why, like you said about the program, why they need to be taken in early. First and foremost, people want to blame the mama, but I say where are the parents at of these young kids? All these young kids' parents are not alcoholics, drug addicts, and you parents and Jerry, y'all know that they not. Some of these kids come from middle class families, but the parents seem to just don't have time for them, or when they're being watched by older siblings. I remember when we were growing up, if my mama told us to stay in the house and don't take our butt out there, we didn't take our butt out there. Now they have these laws where you can't leave kids at home. Yeah, you do make them responsible, and we did what we were supposed to do, and when we didn't do it, you got your head knocked off. My mama didn't play. So you also you looking at, like you said, 11 years old. I can guarantee you he probably comes from a decent family. But it's just that nobody's paying attention to these kids. Go outside and play. You can't just say that anymore like you like when we used to do it, because when them lights went down, you had to bring your butt in the house. But it's a whole different scenario now. And I'm more afraid of these young ones than I am the older ones, because they haven't been taught conscious. There's no conscious there. And the cortex does not grow until you're a certain age, and you really don't come into your own responsibility. They talk about puberty. No, it's way after that, because some of these people don't get it until they're like 21 years of age. So that thought process of the consequences is not there, especially if they're being taught by criminal elements. So,
well, and that's how the church is going to play a part in some of this stuff, because what we're going to try to do is sit down with some of these pastors and get them to understand that we need to get them to be responsible for these children, because some of them mamas, and only God knows if their daddies are even around, but some of them mamas are off into so much other stuff that they're not going to be committed to this, and we got to get these parents committed to being able to see their child into the future.
Mm-hmm. And see the role that the church can play, and this is something that Pastor Hunt came in, and one of the things that our congregation is glad of is the fact that Pastor Hunt is a young pastor. And I mean, he's 47 years old, but our church is an older church, but we welcome having a young pastor in, because we know that in order for our church to continue to grow, we got to bring in young people. We have to have some reason for them to want to come. And this is where we have to develop the programs necessary that will draw young people in, which is why I said earlier, we've got a lot of work to do, because we have allowed ourselves as a race of people to be directed in avenues and to be sent in directions that does not benefit us as individuals and as a race of people. Fortunately, now I've got one son, but I got three daughters. And I told my son, I mean, he's 37 years old now, but I told him, I said, son, you got to get something that they can't take away from you. I said, you got to get an education. I said, now, you think you're the second coming of Michael Jordan, but you're going to have to forget about that. I said, you got to have a plan B, because just like you think you the second coming, you got a whole bunch of more of them out there that think the same way you do. And some of them are as good as you are or better. I said, and you have to look at, you're not going to be able to do that all your life. In fact, you might not be able to do it past 33 or 34 years old. Then what you gonna do? You know, so he went to school, got him a degree in computer network building. Now he's the project manager over at Rush Hospital. He's in charge of Rush University's IT department. But in fact, he's the only project manager over there that has a degree also in computer network building. Only one in the whole hospital. But see, but we have to push our young people, not just our kids, but we have to push those kids that we come in contact with to get them to understand that standing on these street corners is not going to get you where you need to go.
Right.
It's not going to do it. And I used to tell the young people that I would come in contact with, I would tell them, look, I have never met a retired dope dealer. Not at 65 years old. I said, because he ain't gonna live that long. I said, so you're gonna have to find something that will sustain you, something that will allow you to be a part of this society, and not because you in prison, because then you're not a part of this society. I said, but it's up to us to present these young people with options, to give them options. And we have to do that. We have a responsibility as a church.
Now, and can I ask you this question, brother? And how do you get those options?
We're looking at developing a plan, number one. Because see, as you said earlier, you can't go and sit down in front of money people expecting them to invest in you, and you can't lay a business plan out to show them.
My point to you exactly is simply this, that knowledge affords you more opportunities.
Absolutely.
Knowledge affords you more. A guy told me one time, I was taking a driving course. He said, now my English may not be correct, but I think you all in here, all you professional people, y'all understand what I'm saying. When you know some things, you're better able to make a decision.
Right.
When you know some things. And the only way that you're going to be known, the only way you're going to know some things is to educate yourself. And what people can't translate and understand is that, knowledge becomes power, because it shows you other avenues that you can travel down, and it shows you a way to develop. And here's the word that a lot of people have ran away from. Blueprints, clever ideas, and plans don't solve problems, but strategies do. You got to have a strategy, because the strategy is going to give you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different ways to accomplish your goal, to accomplish the goal. And you got to be able to show Negroes how to put a strategy together, not a plan. Most folk we talk to, and the people I run into, these niggas got a plan. They got a clever idea. And most of the times, the plan and the clever idea is just a brain fart, because it has not been thought all the way through. If this does not work, then what? Right. What are you going to do? It's like what you said to your son. Yeah, you can play ball, but if that don't work for you, or if somebody comes along that's better than you, or your number don't get pulled, then what the hell you going to do? You got to have a strategy. And what we have to try to do is educate our folk. And I've been talking this stuff for I don't know how long. Strategy. You need a strategy. You need a strategy. When I first came back to the Baptist church and started telling the pastors about how God wanted some of their alligator shoe money and their Cadillac money and their Mercedes-Benz money, they told me to go to hell. They told me to go to hell. But how can you ask somebody else to tithe? How can you ask somebody else to invest in the ministry and you ain't investing in it yourself?
Right. Absolutely.
You talking about an oxymoron.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's more than an oxymoron. You know, I hope my sister told you all how real I am. You know, I'm a real brother. I keep it real. That's not an oxymoron. That's an ass. That's a complete ass.
No, she didn't tell me any of that.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
She just said, I'm going to invite my brother. So I'm like, okay. You know, I didn't know
I
what to
told you he
expect.
was a minister and he did some other things with the city and
And they know me. The city knows me. Trust me. And these Negroes around here in these churches know me. You ask any of them if they know Dr. Barlow, they going to tell you they know me. And they tell you I shoot straight from the hip. I don't play with none of them. I don't care who they are. I don't play with none of them. I'm going to tell them just like it is.
Well,
So
Pastor,
the
yes,
things
he
that a
does.
lot of them are trying to do, I've already done that stuff, man. I ran like I said, I ran a healthcare organization for the University of Chicago. It went from a $5 million little one clinic operation. When I turned it over in 2014, we had seven places, 345 employees, and it's a $35 million operation. It's a $35 million operation.
well, Pastor, I will say that I've heard of you, but I had never seen pictures of you. I had just heard your name, and I knew that you had been involved in a lot of
Yeah,
activity.
I work closely with the police department. I work
I had
with
never met
Hilliard. I work with Klein. I mean, I work closely with the police department for many years. I worked out in 9. I mean, if you knew Commander Triggs was my friend.
Oh, I knew Trey. Yeah.
Triggs was my friend. The boy that just shot and killed himself was my friend.
Was he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
So I mean, you know, I've been in this stuff for a little while, and I just kind of been on vacation from it.
Stay on vacation. Stay on vacation.
I've been on vacation from it.
Stay
You know,
on vacation.
I'm gonna try to do this little youth thing and help my friends with the Black Fire Brigade to get this thing off the ground. I think it's a good thing, and it's something that I think our young people need to get into. They need to get into it. And this current commissioner needs something to hang his hat on because he's getting ready to get out of there pretty soon. So this would be a good way for him to do it as well. And I got some things that I want him to give me. So like I say, I try to create win-win situations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to ask you for nothing without telling you what I'm going to give you in return. Because see, that makes everybody happy then. Everybody has won.
Yeah.
You're not going to be happy if I'm doing all the getting and you're not getting anything. You're not going to be happy.
No.
So why create a situation like that where everybody at the table is not going to be happy? You tell everybody they got a seat at the table, and then only 1 or 2 Negroes is going to get rich off of it, or 1 or 2 Negroes going to be blessed by it. No, you create an atmosphere where everybody in the room will experience the blessings and have an opportunity to make mark on people's lives. Mm-hmm. This is what Jesus did. Jesus made a mark on everybody's life that he came in contact with. And that's what he requires of all of us. So by the time I get through talking to you all tonight, if y'all ain't got nothing from me, let me know and I'm gonna give Marcella $1 to give all of you. So you're gonna get something from me.
Okay.
Well, what I got from you is that the church's world, the message that's coming out of the church has led a lot of people to believe the wrong stuff and they're going in the wrong direction.
Absolutely. I'll be the first one to tell you that. And I'm
Yeah,
not, and
no
I'm not too afraid or ashamed to tell you that. It's a damn shame the way they have led our people. And that's why when people like me come around, they scared to even listen to me because they've been listening to all that old crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The day for all, it's been enough preaching in the country. It's been enough preaching in this city to have saved the whole damn city. The city don't need no more preaching. We need somebody to teach us.
Yeah.
We need somebody to lead us in the right direction. Give us something that's going that we can pass on to somebody else.
Yeah, action. Some action.
Well, then you got a whole lot of
And
action.
educate. No, I'm talking about
you got a whole lot of action.
educated action. The same way I was talking about with these aldermen. You don't hear anything. When it comes to politics, you don't even, we had that in school. If they're not going to put it back in school, and see, that's what parents should be advocating for. Put them civics back in the school so people will know exactly when it comes to politics. Like we talked about, you weren't on the program, but we talked about voting. And some people get upset because I said, I don't waste my time on presidential elections because they're already selected. That's through the Electoral College. They pretty much select the president and the vice president. You can look it up and it tells you that. They go by the most popular, and that's how Trump got in. But as far as these local elections, the people can have a whole lot of control over that. But you got to know what you're looking at. And like I was telling Gail and them, I used to, I don't know if you knew, I used to go and study the judges because I wanted to look at the fact that I got tired of my son getting pulled over and all these other Black young males getting put in jail. You got to look at the backgrounds of some of these judges. So I used to put together a list of judges that people could vote for and pass it out. So you have to look at the different offices here. Once that money comes down, and tell me if I'm wrong, once that money comes down from the government, the state, the governors can do whatever they want with their money, basically.
Well, certain parts of it, certain monies are allocated because the highest held office, the person that actually controls the state is the head senator. That's the highest held office. Mm-hmm. So Dick Durbin is the one, and if he earmarks certain monies, the governor has got to do what Dick Durbin told him to do, because if he don't, then he won't get no more money.
Right. So, but these local elections matter more so to me.
Oh, of course they do.
And this is how we can, when we educate ourselves, and I think when we start educating young, and I go back when I was saying about the aldermen. Okay, you guys have now made this liaison between the city and the constituents, and now you like you said, now you've been made it a job. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so put together a program where you can start teaching these kids civics at the YMCA or the libraries somewhere.
Well, the thing, Marcella, is
bring them there.
The thing is, Marcella, is to educate our people that politics is a business. It's a business, and Negroes have got to learn how to grow the business, not just jump into politics just to be jumping into politics. You jump into politics and then realize that somebody's coming behind you and you got to pave the way for them.
Exactly. And so that's what I'm talking about. Groom these young people to be able to do that. And if you're in politics, like some of the aldermen, they have passed their seats down to their children. You're right.
Of course, not the black ones. Not the black ones.
Well, Shaw did. A few of them did.
Yeah, I was going to say very few, Marcella.
Very few. I know. But what I'm saying is these young and up and, I look at the Jackson family. That's a business.
Yeah, it's a
So
business.
that's a business.
They
And this
all
is
live.
what I'm,
They all live on the same block, and they put all
yes,
their
they
money
do.
in one pot. They put all their money in one
Exactly.
pot.
And that's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm speaking to. And it starts also at home too, you know, to make sure your children are educated. You have to educate them about their blackness. You have to educate them about Black history. You can't leave these schools and these other people to do it. You know, Malcolm X said, why would you let the enemy teach your children? You teach it. Jasmine want to ask something right now. Go ahead. Go ahead. Just ask.
The programs that you're talking about implementing, are you going to also add financial awareness to those programs?
Well, that all becomes a part of it. That all becomes a part of it, because you can't talk about putting people into career type venues without dealing with every aspect of it. I mean, just like when I had the automotive program, we taught them in our life skills classes, we taught them from how to brush their teeth to how to manage their checkbooks, because they were going from making nothing and dealing drugs to like Corey is now. I mean, Corey is a six-figure guy. Six-figure guy. He's talking about investing $300,000 to have his own dealership. Now that's his part that he has to come up with. Now, do you realize where he came from to the point of where he can sit down with the manufacturer and say, yes, I can give you $300,000 cash? Every Negro can't do that, especially not at his age. Hell, I can't do that.
No, but if at a young age, your parents know about financial awareness and set you up credit-wise, you can do that through credit.
Oh, absolutely. And what I'm saying to you is what I put together. This is why nobody else has been able to produce that, because it was innovative and nobody had ever done this before. Just like what we're talking about doing now. This is something altogether different that nobody else is talking about. Now, there's one other program that one other group that has done it, and that's this guy out of New York.
Just sit them on your lap.
So, you know, we're trying to create this atmosphere, and because it is Chicago, we're gonna add our own little flavor to it, because Chicago is the mecca for a whole lot of other things that take place across the country, what a lot of folks don't understand, and across this globe. I've always told everybody the second highest office held in the country is the mayor of the city of Chicago. That's the second highest held office in the country, believe it or not. Because Chicago, when you travel globally, you have to cross Chicago. That's why O'Hare is so big. And it's important to the travel around this world, because to cross from continent to continent, you have to come past Chicago. That's why they don't want no more idiots sitting down on the 5th floor. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
I missed the first part of
It
it.
is what it is.
Right.
What Marcel? What's your daughter saying?
No, I was just saying I missed the first part of the Zoom, so I didn't know exactly what all was being inputted in the program. So
it's a 4-part series, and we talked about
I'm just listening.
we talked about voting and how we can make things better for ourselves. We talked about the census, and we talked about you know, the housing. Now the 4th part is about religion and what can the church do to help our community.
Well, I think the thing is, basically, with the children and in the household, with the young children that's raising the children, I think they have lost hope, in a sense. So even if you do have the program and you're offering it, they're thinking to themselves, why would I even participate if I'm not going to amount to anything anyway? I think people have lost hope and lost a vision for themselves. the thing, media is the social media now is the biggest platform. And I was saying to my mom, when you were talking about your son, he's giving everything to playing basketball because that's the thing that gets them there. They feel like either rapping or twerking or being some type of superstar or megastar is the only hope that they have and the only thing that they can get to make some type of living for themselves. So my question is, with the churches, how do you get hope back into people to the point where they even will listen to even want to go through the program and be a part of that so that they can do something with themselves?
Well, see,
Well,
one of the things you have to look at with any program, when you have some success stories in that program, because I told the story of my son. He's 37 years old, and he wants to mentor. He wants to be a mentor to younger people so that he can explain to them how he was kind of headed in a different direction. He wasn't out there gangbanging because I told him, if you get involved in a gang, I'll kill you myself. So he stayed away
I
from
like
that.
that, brother. I like that.
I mean, I just told, and he knew I was serious too.
Yeah.
But I still had to convince him, like I said earlier, that you can have a plan A, but you also need a plan B. And above all, you need to get an education. You need to have some knowledge about what it is that you are trying to accomplish in life, and to don't hang around knuckleheads. That's the other thing that I told him too. I said, you have to surround yourself with people that think like you do, because if you decide that you want to be a follower as opposed to being a leader, then you are buying into somebody else's agenda. You got to have your own agenda. You got to have in your mind what it is that you want to accomplish, or have somebody that's older that can be in your life that can give you some direction. He was fortunate, I'll pat myself on the back. He was fortunate enough to have a father to give him some direction. But where the church comes in is those men that are in the church now that have been successful in what they were doing. They got to be willing to sit down with these young fellows, and the women sit down with these young ladies and explain to them that there is some hope, and explain to them where they're coming from, because we wasn't all born with what we have now. We had to work at it. We had to put in some effort. We had to put up with a lot of BS that in order to get where we needed to get, because your mom used to work for me. And when I left that job, I was making six figures, but it was time for me to go. And well, that's a whole nother story. But when you can sit down and explain to people that if you're willing to put in the effort, you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish, and you can use yourself as an example. What a lot of our young people don't have is someone that they can look at as an example of what they may want to be. And that's where the church can come in, because if we can draw them into the church, because we have the necessary programs that can assist them in getting where they may want to go, then that's to our advantage. And this is the role that we can play as church leaders, as people involved in church activity, is to bring them into the church. Not try to beat them over the head with religion, but just to give them some direction. Because
Yeah,
a
and
lot
even
of our
for the
young, yeah, because a lot of our young people don't have direction.
agree, absolutely. But also too, sometimes, like you said, it's different. So you got to meet these young people where they are. Sometimes
Yeah,
you got to
gotta
take
meet
the
them where they are.
you got to take the church to them. It's not about
Mhm.
the brick and the mortar. It's
Oh
about
no, no.
what you got to offer in the inside. You have to take it to them,
Mhm.
and not so much that. And like I'm gonna go back to what you said earlier in regards to businesses. Those businesses fail because there's no integrity. Those businesses fail because when they walk in your house and they don't do the work, they don't even have. When she said talk about hope, you got to have hope and belief in your business to do quality work. So the integrity is not there. I had to raise a shoe boot to many of them too, but I still will not give up on my black contractors. I'm not bringing nobody else in here because I believe that they're, and I got my basement done and it was by a young black contractor and it looks amazing. So I don't give up hope on it in regards to that. And then when you can get that, when that client can give you that praise and then to spread your name along. Like we got an awesome electrician, and he has got a lot of business from me in regards to referring him out because he has integrity. And when he come in and do the work, his price is his price. We need to, when people have their own businesses and stuff, we need to stop trying to jew them down. And you have to hold them accountable for their work. You have to hold them accountable. Because I will sue you, which I have done. But you have to hold them accountable. And as business owners, we have to, like I said, the number one thing is integrity. So you have to look for people with that. And you have to speak your mind when it comes to them. You don't have to take that. You don't have to take that whatever it is that they dishing out because you're paying them. I mean, it seems like with some of us, the same way we're back in the 60s and stuff, that white man's water is better. That white man's job is better. The Hispanic man's job is better. No, it is not, because you can get some answers with that as well. And we have to stop thinking, black people, and just like Justin said, hope all the way through. We got to have hope that there are own out there who can do the job at hand, whatever it may be, and do it with integrity and style and do it well. And I know business people like that who do it well. And when you have an issue with a client or a customer, you resolve that. You resolve that issue with that customer or that client. Don't just disappear or not show up or say, oh, I didn't do this or that. Don't become argumentative, you know.
Right.
And when
But you know,
that client or that customer is a mental, I would say, you know what, that's just one you have to take the issue.
somebody has a lot of noise in
let
the
me just
background.
say, let me
Dr.
just say,
Barlow.
Huh?
I think you got a lot of noise over there.
I'm sorry.
yeah, and
Okay.
let me
When
just say
somebody's
this.
talking, you gotta mute it, Chief.
Okay, and let me just say this because I'm going to have to go. But the most important thing I think we, as senior adults, can do, we have to also listen to young people. We have to listen to them. We can't come in with I got all the answers and you just sit down and listen to me. We got to listen to them. Let them share with us how they feel, so that we'll have something to go on when we are engaging them. But we got to listen to them. So, Gail, I'm going to have to go,
Okay.
but I really enjoyed the conversation, and I guess you done recruited me, so
Good.
whenever I can make it on Thursday, I'll be here.
All right,
And,
cool.
Resident rebel.
yeah, and Pastor Barlow, it was nice meeting you, sir, and I hope
My
we
pleasure.
get it together again sometime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, Clarence. Have a good
okay.
night.
Thank you.
All right.
Jasmine wanted to say something.
Okay.
No, just go.
No,
You can go ahead.
I lost my point. But no, I visited my uncle's school one time before, and I noticed that the way his delivery is to talk to them real. And I think that's the thing. You have to have real people that's going through real things that have done it and can positively make a change with the person. Also not being afraid to make change yourself. With the churches, I notice a lot of people are afraid to change things within the church. And it's not a thing about making it comfortable for the younger people, but just changes to the younger people where they can be more involved in what you're doing. That's another thing too. The thing is not just to create a program so that they can have those 9 to 5 jobs, but to teach them that they can also be entrepreneurs beyond their jobs and create a vision for them that's bigger than just those jobs. And that's where the hope comes in. Because sometimes when you see yourself and you say, oh, I'll just be a nurse. No, you can be the best nurse and you can be beyond just a nurse. Now you can travel and you can teach other people and you can touch lives with being a nurse. You know, it's creating a vision of being the best and being more than the best, to be omnipotent and just be inventive within your position. Like he said, my mom worked for him, but she also became, with working for him, after working with him and working there, she's also become an entrepreneur herself. With life situations that she's been going through with the CBD oil and things like that, she invented and created, and now she has a brand. You want to always do more than just what is on the surface. I think that's my thing. And with churches, you always want to reinvent yourself because God is never changing, but his word is power. And when you deliver it in so many different ways, you can catch the attention of so many different people. It's no one way to deliver God because he's so much bigger than life. And I just think that that's positive wording that I'm saying, and it is something that a lot of preachers need to think about and start doing some changes within their churches. That's just my thought about it.
He was still talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. I was thinking about the exact same thing. It's gotta be how the message is given, and that would determine how the message is received. So there, like you said, Jasmine, there are many ways that you can bring God to people, and I like that Pastor Barlow was saying that he works from a holistic approach, because I think that's exactly what you have to do. People we have so many issues, so many dimensions to us, so there's no way that you can help us so much, help any individual so much if you're only heading on head working with them from one angle. You have to go by their whole, the whole person, because we face so many issues at home or at work or whatever, and you help us to build a solid foundation, then we should be able to apply whatever that is throughout our lives. Like, you build that strategy for that business, but you can also build a strategy to run your household, to pursue a new career or whatever. So
Pastor Barlow.
What? I don't have anything else to say. I'm gonna do like the other guy and
Your
make
hand
like
is
the,
head out.
make like the good make like the good shepherd and get out of here. But I will say this: uh, time, unfortunately, has already dictated the change. I'm saying it to my niece Jasmine, in regards to a lot of these pastors out here. Um, they will soon learn, if they have not understood already, that the way things used to be and the way that we used to live is probably going to be no more. I hate to be the one to say that, but I mean, it's the facts of the matter. That's what we're dealing with. Now, is it going to be better or worse? I can't tell you because I'm not clairvoyant, but I know it's not going to go back to the way that it used to be. So time has already dictated the change. And the problem that most folk have with change is that it, one thing that I had to do when I was over the health clinics, I had to go to UCLA every year to take this course. They did a 14-week course. They condensed it into 14 days. And basically the nut in the shell to the course was to create a way in which you could predict what's going to happen 10 to 15 years from now and put something in place now so that when that time comes, it'll be a smooth transition. So it's positive thinking. And one of the exercises that they used to take us through all the time was, and they would change around, but one of the ones that I thought was most effective was, it would be 80 people in the class, and they would have us to get together in groups of 2. And they make you face each other. And they say, now look at each other. Now turn your backs and change 3 things about your personal appearance. And, you know, some people that had on glasses, they took their glasses off. Some women that had earrings on, took them off. Some people that didn't have a hat on, put a hat on, all that type of stuff. And they would ask us to sit down. So then they would ask, how many people can recognize 3 things that your partner changed? And some people would raise their hands. How many people could recognize 2 things that the person you partnered with changed? Some would raise their hand. How many could recognize 1 thing? How many of you didn't recognize anything? And, people would have discussion about this. Then they would wait about 20 minutes and they would say, how many of you have put everything back like you had it before? And literally everybody in the class raised their hand. And they said, why did you do that? Well, folk that took their glasses off said that it felt funny without glasses. People that had taken off their watch said, it felt funny. Folk that had taken off their earrings, people that had a hat on say, well, my head got hot, so I took the hat off now. Because what they were trying to make us understand and realize is that saying that things need to change, and then Negroes getting their minds wrapped around, and I'm not talking about color now when I say Negro, people getting their minds wrapped around things have to change versus them actually doing it. Change feels different. Change looks different. If it didn't feel different, if it didn't look different, hell, it wouldn't be changed. So a lot of people talk that stuff, but they're not open to the fact of that 2 things. Number 1, change always starts with self first.
Yes.
It's an inward thing, not an outward thing. We always looking for something to look different. But have you started thinking and feeling different first?
Yeah.
Because see, if you're not looking, if you're not feeling and thinking differently, then nothing's going to look different. Nothing's going to feel different. Because it always starts with the individual first. And then you can move it on to somewhere else. So you have a lot of folk that talk about things need to be changed, but they don't know how to put it into action because they always want to point the finger at you and tell you, you need to change this and you need to change that and you need to do that. Well, hell, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
What you going to change?
Exactly. I have a motto, change is good. I'm always changing. I'm always trying to better. I'm always growing. I'm always have growth. I've always had a side hustle. And you're right, it is a business when you grow it. But I've always
Right.
done that, you know, because
Right.
number one, when people you say about having an action plan or a plan, number one, your plan should be your family. And you got to keep yourself in order to execute that plan with your family. Then you work on your children. And at the same time, you're working on yourself. And you got to be your best self if you want them to be their best self. And you're right. You have to change within too. You have to make sure that that communication is open with them as well in order for them to be their best self. And you can't stay stagnant with the same old things that you're doing. They got to see change with you. I always
That's
feel
not change. If it looks
the,
the same, if it feels the same, if it sounds the same, it's not change.
it's not change. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, kids you are a mirror to them. Whatever it is that you're doing, you know, and if it's something that you know is not right, you either don't do it in front of them or you don't do it at all.
That's
You
why.
don't do it at all.
That's why. I took a good look at everything, and I was saying I think we should go about it as rebuilding the community because we live there. It's our community, and we need to take ownership. It has to begin at home. It has to begin in our houses. It has to begin all the way down to the individual, us. So that's why I took that approach to the series. So thank you. I've learned so much.
But Gail, wait a minute. I wanted to commend you. Gail and I
Me?
worked together for years, and she's about to retire. She went to broadcasting school doing this job, and now look what she's doing. And her actions and the things that she has done and brought herself on live here, you know, I watch her from the beginning to now. And what you're doing, you're helping the community by communicating this and allowing just regular folks to, because we're the ones that make up the community. All this stuff you people can see on TV and stuff, no, we the real deal. We the real people out here. And anybody that might want, and I shouldn't be inviting, but anybody that might want to go and come on this show to have something to say and that are doing the work and got the boots on the ground or have an idea, they should want to come in and speak to what everything that's going on. We have to stop sitting back being silent. You know, I'm quiet at work and people know me as being quiet and reserved and stuff, but I have a voice and I have a lot to say. You know what I'm saying? Always have, but I have a lot to say. And thank you, Gail, for even deciding you made change within your life in order for you to be able to do this. And I just see, because we just took that business class at the SBA, and she just flew with it, man. She went from Q4 radio to now your own podcast, your own what you had before, Speak Easy and playing the music and stuff, and you know, and now you got us on Facebook Live with a whole agenda on how we can better ourselves, you know, and I just commend you for that. I really do. And thank you for letting me be your resident rebel.
Well, thank you for taking on that role.
Well, I didn't know you on Facebook Live. I know I'm gonna get it now.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you, you just eating and drinking. I sent it to you.
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
my phone's in my office. I left out of that.
You changed outfits.
You changed outfits.
No, I didn't. I just put my shirt on because I'm getting ready to leave. I'm supposed
I
to be
was
meeting
trying
somebody.
to tell you, I sent you a text.
Yeah, I left my phone in my office.
Too. I was like, wow, he's really telling people off today.
Oh, that's normal.
Well,
like this is real people. I mean,
the good thing is that, like I said, everybody know me. They know me. I'm gonna keep it real. Listen, I thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. I'd love to come back again, spend some time with you all.
Okay.
Yeah, and she needs to talk to you because there are a lot of people she's been trying to reach out to, and I'm sure you know them.
Okay, just give her my number. Give me a holler. And
Oh, thank you. So nice to meet you.
My pleasure. We'll catch up. All right. I'm leaving.
All right, bye, bro.
Peace.
You guys.
Oh, Marcella, he is hilarious.
He the real.
Are we still live?
Yes, and Gail
Yes,
too.
we are.
He knows.
I can take down the live now. Okay, everybody. Before we go, I just want to remind you to reach out to the show at Shy Panther, um, shypanthermedia at gmail.com, and for the website is shypanthermediagroup.org, all one word. And as Marcella was saying earlier, I'm very much into bringing the everyman who's out there with the people in the community doing the real work. The people don't see you and see what you're doing. I want to tell those stories. I want you guys to come on here and tell your own story, and I'm very open to talking with you about it, setting up dates and times. We don't have to do it on Thursdays. We can fit in the day and time that works for everybody, and just come on, keep supporting the show. I rarely ever ask for any monetary donations, but you can reach out to me at shypanthermedia at gmail. I'll tell you how to donate to the show, and plus, it's on the website. Just scroll all the way down, and you can find it at shypanthermediagroup.org. Thank you guys. Remember to take care of yourself, take care of your neighbors. God bless you. And good night until next Thursday.
Good night, and shout out to Tracy, Leslie, and Pat.
All right. Okay, everybody. We're going to end the Facebook Live portion so you won't hear all the other stuff.
Good night.
Bye.